Welcome to JPAC TV. The National Youth Service Corps is a scheme designed immediately after the Nigerian Civil War to foster unity among the Nigerian youth. And over the years, it has really achieved its aim of making Nigerian youth integrate among themselves after Nigeria went through a 30 months civil war. What has been the gain over the years? This week on JPAC TV podcast, we will be looking at the impact of the assured prosperity in Bayelsa State on corpus posted to Bayelsa for the past 5 years. To help us dissect this issue on this week's edition of JPAC TV is the Executive Assistant to the Bayelsa State Governor on NYSC matter, Dr. Wisdom Richard Puyeri. Sister Richard, welcome.
Much. It's a pleasure to be.
Lovely office you have here.
Thank you. And all thanks to the government of assured prosperity.
Dr. Puyeri, NYSC, laudable idea, 50 years counting down the line. Most of us are product of this program. From your assessments, has the program really lived up 50 years down the line to achieve the purpose of integrating Nigerian back after the obvious civil war we had?
Okay, once again, I'd like to say thank you for having me on set. When we review the NYSC scheme in the past 52 years, to be precise, we can tell for free that a lot of gains have been recorded, particularly owing to the intentions of the founding fathers, the General Yakubu Gowon. Remember and recall that the NYSC was birthed after the Civil War. Our country was sharply divided along ethnic, tribal, and even religious lines. There was need to heal the nation. There was need for reintegration. There was need for us to build stronger bonds, covalent or dative, of brotherhood. Given the need for all of that, the then head of state thought it that there is need for us, therefore, as a nation, to have this scheme. When you go memory lane, 52 years after, where are we? I will tell you that largely the scheme has achieved the intentions of the founding fathers. Arising from the initiative of the NYSC, we have had cross-cultural marriages, which has further cemented our bond and brotherhood as a nation and as a people. So today, the conversation is not about the need for disintegration, but rather the need to build a stronger nation. All of these, I can say, and many more, are fruits of the initiative of the NYSC. So for me, I would like to say it has been successful to a large extent.
Wow. But in recent years, we've seen cases and not cases of where core members posted to certain areas have come under serious danger. Some even lost their lives. We remember the episode that happened in Kano some years back due to perceived some misconception about this vaccination of this and that. Core members that were attacked and killed. Some were even kidnapped some few years back. Do you think it has outlived its usefulness now? Should rejig that scheme itself?
The concerns around security, which is everybody's business and an existential problem in every nation, is not something that we can isolate only to the NYS. We agree that as a nation, we are faced with diverse kinds of security concerns, whether insurgency, Boko Haram, or what have you, farmer-herders clash. For us as a nation, I do not think because of the pockets of security concerns that have also greeted members of the scheme, some while on their way to their orientation camp and some while serving, that should be enough reason why we should feel that the NYSC has outlived this essence. Rather, the conversation should be tilted towards the direction of we saying, as a people, that there is need for government at all levels to take very seriously the primary responsibility of government and governance, which is the protection of the lives and the properties of our people. So if you look at it from that prism, therefore, it's clear that while we agree that some NYSC core members have been affected by our security concerns, which is normal in every nation across this country, rather in every state across the country, I would like to say this, that for us, it has nothing directly that has to do with the scheme in itself, because the scheme's intention are still pursued vigorously, and daily what we see is an improvement. And just to add to what I just said, yes, a number of persons are uneasy when you talk about deployments to far-flung areas away from home. And so when you also observe, most persons want to stay within their geopolitical zone, whether it is posting within geopolitical zones or whether it is posting outside the geopolitical zone. The point is this: the NYSC in itself creates a consciousness in the hearts and minds of every Nigerian that, look, we are brothers, though tribe and tongue may differ, but brotherhood should be the underlying factor. And I think that is what the scheme is still doing. So for me, I don't think that it has outlived it.
Okay, some school of thought are suggesting that this yearly scheme seems to will end up turning out graduates that are not employable. Some are suggesting why not extend it to 2 years, and so that these graduates could also be opportune to learn skills that will help them to manage themselves when they get out into the labor market.
I think completely differently on that issue. Ours is an educational system that has not been structured such that we train to reduce unemployment. For me, what I think needs serious rejigging and recalibration is our Nigerian educational system, because as it currently is, we are training to feed unemployment. As a scheme, if you subscribe to a 2-year national service period, how would we be able to accommodate the number of Nigerian graduates that are yearly and always shown out of the higher institutions? Clearly, the nation would not be able to accommodate it, even as we are running a 1-year cycle mandatory service period. I can tell you also that we have a backlog of those who are waiting on the queue to go for national service. So if you view it from that lens, you will find out that those that are advocating for 2 years are not really advocating it while looking at it holistically. But let me be quick to also say that the scheme, as we have seen, has introduced and incorporated the Skills Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Program. That is a program that exposes everyone deployed to serve our nation to some sort of skills, because we know that the white-collar jobs and the blue-collar jobs are not readily available anymore. And so what you get in the orientation camp during the orientation course, as it were, is that your appetite is aroused and you are exposed to a particular skill set. And then you are advised that in the course of your 1-year mandatory service, you should be able to engage in post-camp skill acquisition training. If any Nigerian youth who is serious about their lives would take very seriously that advice, I can tell you again that by the end of their service, they will be able to arm them with skills different from the one they have come with from their universities of education. So for me, our educational system needs to be restructured. Curriculum needs to be rigid such that we do not train to feed the already bad employment figures.
Okay. Let's come to Bayelsa State. Since you are the governor assistant in NYSC matters, since the past period of close to 5 years, this administration has been on close to 6 years actually. What has been the story like? How do corpers posted to Bayelsa State, what impression do most of them usually have at the end of the 1 year, and does it change the perception they had when they were usually posted to Bayelsa State when they come on the first step?
Thank you very much. I'd like to very warmly appreciate you for that inquiry. For us in Bayelsa, it has been a wonderful day, particularly under the government of prosperity, ably led by His Excellency, distinguished Senator Doediri. It has been 5 years plus and counting of prosperity even to the doorsteps of core members. First thing first, the first thing any core member deployed to any state wants to have and enjoy is security. And here in Bayelsa states, we make bold to say we are among the safest states in this country. Just to remind you also, by way of summarizing what our government of prosperity is doing. Also, Bayelsa State, while NYSC celebrated our 15 years anniversary in 2023, Bayelsa State was nationally recognized as the NYSC most friendly state in this country. Now, in itself speaks volume. So, as is a government that has paid premium attention to issues of security and welfare of core members, let me also put it on record that across the 36 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, there are some welfare packages that you will not find in any of these places apart from Bayelsa. Chief amongst which is what we call the augmented transportation back home. That allowance, even as I speak, is only provided by the government of assured prosperity.
Oh, maybe you let us know. Oh, in what is your transport?
Okay, let's play. Now, at the end of every service year, core members expect that they will return home. But as a state, we believe that you have invested 1 solid year of your life providing services to our people. And so, beyond paying state allowances, which our states would ensure you receive up to date before you leave, our governor felt that, look, we should also give them transportation to go back home and be safely reunited with family and loved ones. That is only though here in Bayelsa. And the amount is, it's augmented sum of 10,000 naira. Every core member, whether you are in the public sector or in the private sector. And mind you, for every time period we have in this country, and particularly in our state now, we have an average of over 7,000 core members. Think about the figures. And we have 3 batches with 6 streams, and the deployment to our states is averaging 1,005 per stream. But our government has kept faith with the welfare package of state allowance payment, augmented transport back home, and we even reward core members who distinguish themselves while providing service to our state with state honors and chairman's honors award where necessary. Only recently, a core member did some outstanding work and he's been nominated for a state honors award that is under the seal of His Excellency the Governor with a prize money attached to it. So I can tell anybody that cares to listen that Bayelsa remains the best place. And now to the other leg of your question, the impression before and after. Sadly, so many persons deployed to our state believe that we are all militants, we are all gold runners, and we live inside of water. And so they come with that erroneous impression about the German and Bayelsat. But because we are a state that is deliberate about reorientation, beginning from the orientation camp, we begin to tell them that Bayelsa is not what you may be thinking. And so first we treat them to a state-organized welcome party, after which we engage them and made them understand the realities on ground. And I can tell you, my dear brother, that at the end of their service year, we raise in these patriots on national assignment a group of people who are now our ambassadors to now tell our story rightly, to become those who will change the narrative. And so just imagine that on an annual basis, we send out over 7,000 ambassadors to now tell our story positively. And so the story has been one of progress, growth, and development, and it's been a wonderful one, particularly with the support of the champion and pathfinder of the government of assured prosperity.
And what are some of the challenges you faced as the executive assistant to the governor of NYSC matters when corpers posted to Bayelsa State come to your office and say, I beg, I don't want Bayelsa. Do you find it easy to tell them that, okay, go, or you try to help them to, just like you said, orientate them?
Clearly, I'm here for just that reason and many more. I'm here to make them see Bayelsa, see the beauty of Bayelsa, that indeed we are a blessed people, accommodating, friendly, kind, and lovable. And so for core members who have mixed feelings about remaining, the onus therefore lies in my hands with the empowerment given to me by the governor to engage, interact, and interface continually. And that is what we have done. And so each time we engage them, they see a need to remain. Let me remind you that the Honorable Commissioner for Special Duties in Bayelsa served in this state. And he has been one of the shining lights we have used to remind everyone deployed to our state that look, there are no limitations to what he can become and achieve in this land. He came here as a core member, built his business here, was appointed special advisor to the governor of non-indigenous, and today is a commissioner. So Bayelsa is a land of great possibilities, unending possibilities. And so we expose them to this, that from the far-flung local government of Brass down to Sabama and Ikirimong, Bayelsa is waiting for them to annex. Look at our land. We are a productive people. And so by the time you engage them, you find out that over 80-90% of them want to remain. And the tale has always been after their service, they don't want to leave because our people too sway.
Well, that's a funny word for the executive assistant. Talking about far-flung, a lot of corpers don't want to be posted to far-flung area. The riverine communities, they are gay. The far-flung is it true? What do the Bayelsa government do? What are they doing to help them realize that irrespective of where you are serving, you are still under the care of the Bayelsa State government?
First thing first is to come up with things that they can practically, see. Beyond the fact that there is incentive for serving in far-flung communities, the hospitality and warmth of our people is such that we live in a digital age where communication is easy. And so when they hear from those in those places, Marvel, I tell you, particularly, the fear has been crossing water. That has been the major fear and concern of many of them, understandably so. I must say it's understandably so. But we have the duty to tell them that our rivers and waterways are not there to consume you. They are just there to convey you to the place where you need to serve. And so, at the point they finally arrive there, most of them, because they see that Bayelsa is home and capital of Johnification, they don't want to even live in those far-flung communities again. Because in those places, you see the locals trying to provide them with accommodation, food, support, and so they will remain in there till the day of their POP. When you listen to their testimony, it has been a testimony of warmth and hospitality, and sometimes regret that service is coming to an end. So I can tell you that once they get there, and the government has incentivized it to the point that those serving in Yenagoa metropolis receive a different amount for state allowance, those serving in far-flung communities that are completely rural in nature also have different state allowance, and the locals have been quite supportive. I must say that our Bayelsa community, as a people, the different host communities have been alive and responsive to this end. And because of that, we don't have so many issues arising from those who are posted to those areas.
We are still discussing the impacts of the assured prosperity on NYSC members posted to Bayelsa State. We've been discussing with the executive assistant to the governor on NYSC matter, Dr. Wisdom Richard Poyeri. Statistically, they just spoke about almost over 7,000 average per year posted to Bayelsa State. Those two figures, how many remains in Yenagoa and its metropolis, and how many goes to the rural areas?
The figure that remains in Yenagoa is less than 30% per time. Because we have 8 local governments, and there are places where they are deployed for primary assignment are primarily schools. And most of these schools, whether primary, secondary, or a few tertiary, those who came out with first class, are all majorly in the hinterland. So I can tell you again that the percentage of core members in Yenego are far less, not more than 30% part-time. And that is the statistic.
But the report we're hearing is quite different. That corpers posted outside Bayelsa State don't report. Most of them just get there maybe once a month and they go off.
We have a report system in the NYSC and also from my office. And this is it.
How do you want?
If you are a core member deployed to a place and you do not report, how would you go for your clearance? So that report is erroneous, it's laced with inaccuracy, and I can tell you that for free. You have to go for monthly clearance in the local government headquarters, and most times the local government inspector goes to your PPAs where we have cluster communities that are far-flung to do those clearance. So there is no way somebody will say they don't want to go. They know how to go about it. So I'm telling you that His Excellency about a young man that is fully energetic, working with NYSC management. We have ensured, yes, there may be skirmishes and some pockets of such occurrences, but to the best of our ability, knowledge, and skills, we have ensured that that is not just nipped in the bud, but cut to a manageable size.
What? I've seen videos and pictures how you make the orientation camp quite lively. Let me commend you for that. You make it look as if it's a carnival-like atmosphere. There are these 3 weeks that the corpers are there. And I don't know how supportive has been your master center today.
If there is anything like 101%, that is it. Everything you see happening in the camp. And let me also say this. Our governor is so deliberate about core members' welfare. Let me also tell you, you can check anywhere. These things I say them with my integrity on the line. It is in Bayelsa State that camp officials are recognized. How will you not want to give in your best as a camp official when you know that less than 24 hours before camp end, the day before passing out from camp, that the government of prosperity comes to say the best and most hardworking camp officials, military, paramilitary, or NYSC stars, you are rewarded for doing well. Wouldn't you give your best? And then from the core members, when you go to our camp, the ambience, the environment, and our government has also said, look, beyond what you get as federal government, we will also support your food to improve it. So there is what is provided that is called meal subsidy. So the issue around subsidy that you hear by Bayelsa State government for every camp, I use the word every camp, gives that support. So why would you not enjoy? So Bayelsa is home of enjoyment.
Wow. So core members, if you are posted to Bayelsa State, don't think it twice. You are in safe hands because the executive assistant to the governor is assuring you. Now coming to the issue of, have you had cases where you have unruly, disgruntled core members that you have reason to recommend they should have extended service?
Certainly and definitely for almost every stream that passes out. There are those ones that abscond, there are those ones that miss clearance, and definitely, as is a state, while we perform our statutory responsibility of making sure the safety, security, and well-being of core members is guaranteed, they owe us a duty to be responsive in their places of primary assignment. And so those who are not seen to follow the rules are always recommended for some sort of extension of service, ranging from 1 month extension to 2 months, and even some remobilization. Because if you show up 2 months after you vanish into thin air, we recommend you for remobilization, and that is what it is. So while we tell them Bayelsa is lovable, we don't treat that with kids' glue. Service to our nation, serving as patrons on national assignment is a serious business and must be treated as such. And so that is definitely happening always where we have
On average, do you all get up to 10 a stream?
Yes, maximally about 8. And that is all thanks to what we do during the orientation course. Because the orientation course affords us the opportunity to make you see why you should behave properly. and impute a new virtues that will outlive the scheme that you will take into the labor market. And so just a pocket and handful of them are caught and found wanting. So on an average, we can say less than 10.
That's talking about accommodation. That's the biggest issue coming. Beyond sending them to far-flung Italad in Bayelsa, how do your office liaise with the local government chairman to make sure they have good corpus lodge?
Thank you very much for that inquiry. First, we must agree that issues of housing and accommodation are things that live with us as a nation generally. There is never going to be a time where we would have it in excess. But as a government that is responsive, this government has constructed a number of corpus lodges. Also, as a government that collaborates with agencies, there are also sister interventionist agencies that are also keyed into the issue of building corpus lodges in our states. But beyond that also, it is a duty on the part of the places of primary assignment where they are posted to provide them with some sort of accommodation, particularly in the hinterlands. And so communities have rallied themselves around where we do not have good enough corpus lodge in quotes. Communities have rallied themselves around working in collaboration and strong synergy with the government of prosperity to provide them accommodation. So issues around accommodation is not so much of an issue, but I can tell you that it has been a work in progress. Government has been building, government has been renovating, government has been collaborating, and it will continue.
Have you ever had reason to redeploy corps members from where accommodation was not provided?
Yes. When they do not have accommodations readily available, we have to review and look at it because they will not work from space. So when we have those tiny concerns, first is to get across to critical stakeholders and opinion and community leaders before you contemplate relocation or reposting. If the CDC from the community are able to rally themselves around and get a decent place, we have to recommend that they go there. And most often, that is what happens. Very rarely do we add a no-solution approach to it. So we are very tiny. We cannot even place our hands on those occurrences because, like I say, Bayelsans are so supportive. So even in areas where these lodges may not be readily available, the community leaders have worked with governments to see that these corps members are provided with a shelter. And that has been the case as told.
There have been ugly stories about corpus sent to private institutions. Your office, when they get reports like that, how did they go about it?
We always would want to liaise with NYSC management, who does the direct posting, as it's like a midwifing office between the community's government and the management and scheme. And so when we have those concerns, we will always interface. And that is why, again, we must appreciate the governor. It is only in Bayelsa where you have an office dedicatedly provided to be a midwifing office between government and the scheme. And this has made service and the scheme and government's, partnership and understanding quite seamless and very fluid. So I can tell you that because of this office that the governor has created, you can't find it anywhere in this country. You can't. It's only in Bayelsa State. So that shows the premium that government places on it. So with this office, we have been able to, manage some of those concerns that will arise. And where the concerns are quite much, we'll always report to the father of all corps members, His Excellency. And I tell you, anything about corps members that gets to his table, the governor gives it a very favorable consideration.
As we begin to wind down this conversation, Dr. Wisdom Prayere, when do we saddle responsibility of handling this office? Not also first phobia.
No phobia, because one with God is always very solid. No fears at all.
So you are psychologically prepared. You will be
mentally, psychologically, spiritually, and physically.
I love that. Any political aspiration?
None. Tricks.
Are you saying that for the camera or?
Not for the camera. As at this moment, none.
Anyone for the future?
In the future, God holds the times and seasons of all men. Wow. This is only the first barrister that I've ever said this, so interested in politics for now. Well, the political side said me, no, interested. I'm interested in politics for now. Elective office, no plans. The political space is so open in the next few months from now.
That Dr. Poyere, I know you once aspired for a political office.
Never.
You never aspired. Are you planning on getting into elective office?
Not anytime soon. Except God decides to tell me through my leaders.
Who are the leaders?
The leaders. My leader is the governor. What the governor says, where he goes, I go. Ruth said to Naomi, your people shall be my people, your God, my God. Where the governor stands, that's where wisdom, Richard Poyere stands.
That reports the governor could be going to the APC. Are you ready to go?
It's immaterial. Wherever he goes, I've just told you I'm with the governor. Okay. I love this conversation.
We are keen it in because on JPAC TV, we have history and we have a record to call upon. Any final word for incoming core members to Bayelsa State and the ones already serving here?
Those who are deployed to our states, Bayelsa State, the Jerusalem of the Israel nation, and the glory of all lands. I'd like to say it to you that if you are deployed to our states, you are deployed to the very best place you can serve. When you are posted here, giving your best in the service of our people, because there is a reward that comes with service. And I tell you, there is this inward fulfillment you will derive, knowing that you invested one solid year of your life providing service to our nation here in Bayelsa. I'd like to reiterate that Bayelsa is not just peaceful, Bayelsa is accommodating, and Bayelsa awaits your coming. Thank you very much.
Wow, on that cheerful notes, we'll come to the end of this edition of JPAC TV podcast. We'll be having a very wonderful discussion, fruitful one, with the Executive Assistant to the Bayelsa State Governor on NYSC matter, Dr. Wisdom Richard Poyere. I know you must have learned one or two things. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube page, JPAC TV 10. Follow us on Facebook, JPAC TV. Until come your way again, good morning.
Good morning, Jacobson Park. A good man.